There you go. Yeah, I can play just not kids songs. Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
I had a little organ that I can somehow left over from one at home. Which, by the way, is completely break down. Because they're making it into
I was just by that the other day.
yeah, they ripped it down in Hawaii. Big hole. So I had a little shed, and I had an open shed, and I had electric, so I'd go up there and I'd go. I think I did that in some other.
We couldn't have piano when I was growing up because we were moving. I mean, it's like we were one step ahead of the others. I lived in, the time I was 12 years old, we lived in 9 ways.
How are you?
I know that, I can see that.
Showtime. Well, they've got a couple of minutes.
I'm just letting Rupert get situated.
Oh, well, that might take some time.
Well, I'll do the announcements then, and by the time I get done jabbering.
We're fine.
Okay, everybody, we're going to get started. Welcome to the Two-Way Street Coffee House. My name is... Thank you. Yeah, I keep saying that. And now all of a sudden people start to know my name. Just to let you know, we are following the CDC guidelines about masks, except for the performer and me when I'm on the mic. So tonight, we have an all-volunteer staff. All the regulars are here, Joel and Jen and Tim and I, and looking forward to a great show. For those who don't know, we've been here for 51 years. Not me personally, but the program since 1970. Last week, Joe Jenks was saying that we have like a national presence. And I went, oh, that's kind of cool. And so that was kind of cool. Anyway, tonight we've got Rupert Wates, and he's right there. And his flyer is there on the table. And we are a listening room, so when Rupert is playing, we are listening. And then there'll be a break. There's 2 sets. There'll be a break in the middle, and we'll see how it goes. So are you ready, sir?
I'm as ready as I'll ever be.
Oh, good. Well, take it away, Rupert.
Thanks so much. All right, good evening, everybody. Nice to be here, very nice to be here. I'd like to spare a thought for that long line of people that we've seen standing outside the door who wanted to get in this evening, but we decided to turn them away at the last minute because they just weren't good looking enough. So congratulations, everybody else passed the test. That's the only reason that I can think of why this isn't a full house. Well, there are many reasons, of course. COVID is another one. But anyway, it's lovely to play for real people. You are real people, aren't you? You're not just holograms that I've been. You're real people. Because so much of the last 18 months I've spent playing to my laptop, and it's really not the same thing at all. Anyway, I want to say thank you to Two-Way Street, to Joel and Jenny for hosting us this evening and to keeping the show on the road, as they have done so nobly through the last 2 very difficult years, and that's quite an achievement in itself. Thank you for coming out, everybody, supporting live music. I'm feeling the love tonight, feeling the love. This is a little love song called I'm Amazed. I'm Amazed. I don't need the mountains, I don't need the trees, I don't need the splendor of the sun that shines on me. But I don't need the treasures buried out at sea. But I don't need the mighty temples of antiquity. I've traveled far, and all that I I've seen left me cold, twisted and scarred. Nothing could move in my soul. But I'm amazed by your love when I gaze in your eyes. I hope it stays with me now and all the days of my life. Dreams claw at me in the night. They whisper of tragedies not yet come to light. We must hold on to these precious times when I'm here by your side and you are by mine. And out on the road, though you are far from me, everywhere I go, wonder is all that I see. It's better than the mountains, it's better than the trees, it's better than the splendor of the sun that shines on me, better than the treasures buried out at sea. It's better than the lovely gardens of antiquity. I'm amazed by your love when I gaze in your eyes. I hope it stays with me now and all the days of my life. Yes, I'm amazed by your love when I gaze in your eyes. I hope it stays with me now and all the days of my life. Thank you. Thanks so much. Are we all enjoying the sound? Is it all good for you guys? Can you all hear clearly and concisely? Good, okay. You may be wondering why I have 3 guitars up here on the stage. It's actually because Joel originally booked a trio. And then I showed up. The real reason is that they're all in different tunings. And in my experience, there's nothing more tedious than watching a guitar player tune up, so I try to keep them already tuned. So let me tell you about myself. It's one of my favorite subjects. You may be wondering who I am. Well, the name is Rupert. I had to rehearse that carefully with John earlier on. One of those names that says, I'm not from around here. But that's okay, it kind of helps to set me apart a bit. Second name is Wates. W-A-T-E-S. So the whole thing reads, Rupert Wates. Well, the question is, what does Rupert wait for? Here's a song about waiting. This is called Waiting to Begin. When I was a little boy, the world was like a Christmas toy, life a game that I was sure to win, and I'm waiting to begin. Work hard and get ahead, In time all things will come, they said. That was only so much spin, that I'm waiting to begin. Waiting to begin. I'm waiting to begin. Waiting to begin. I'm still waiting to begin. I never crossed the starting line. The race has left me far behind. I'm no longer in my prime. Still the siren voices sing. They're calling from that promised land, stolen from me by some sleight of hand. Life's a shadow of the one that I planned, until I find the real thing. I'm waiting to begin. Waiting to begin. Still waiting to begin. I'm still waiting to begin. Days come and go, and all I really know is that I'm slowly getting older. No more time to waste if I'm to join the race. It's already halfway over. Let me do all that I intend. I'm gonna give all that I have to spend. The road is rushing towards the end, and I'm waiting to begin. Waiting to begin. Still waiting to begin. I'm waiting to begin. I'm still waiting to begin. Thanks so much, everybody. So I do spend a lot of my time on the road. This year I've done about 70 shows, which actually is quite a lot, given the circumstances. It's about half what I would normally do. But in the last 2 months alone, I've traveled about 10,000 miles. I played San Diego, northern Washington State, Maine, Florida, Midwest, and here we are in Kansas. So I've really been in every corner of America in the last couple of months. If I look a little bit tired, that's the reason. Musicians have to get on the road. They always have had to get on the road because you can't play for the same audience every night. And there's a certain part of being on the road that does appeal to my adventurous spirit, shall we say, my restlessness, perhaps. And if you've ever asked yourself the question, how different would life have been if I'd only turned left instead of right at that crucial intersection all those years ago? Would you have ended up in Downers Grove? Well, here we all are, and I, for one, am glad of it. I try not to dwell on those questions too much. But anyway, this is a song for you, if that question's ever occurred to you, and this is called Prisoner of the Open Road. Prisoner of the Open Road. We have touched the misty mountains, whiter than the halo of a winter moon. We have heard the desert wanderers calling to their caravans from dune to dune. We have seen the eagles gliding, learned the secrets hiding in the sand and snow. And you know the path I'm riding, I was born to be the prisoner of the open road. We have slept beneath the starlight while the restless ocean whispered broken lullabies. I've woken to your heartbeat and a love as warm as morning, glowing in your eyes. We have watched an empire tumble, climb the walls that crumble where the kings once strode. And you held me when I stumbled, blinded by the winding of the open road.
tasted milk and honey, drank the juice of bitter berries from a secret vine. I put on veils of mourning and walked barefoot on the marble of forgotten shrines. And I will long to feed you with me, think of how you kissed me when the wild winds blow. And I pray that you'll forgive me, but I'm born to be the prisoner of the open road. And I will dream that you're beside me, waiting there to guide me where the fire once glowed. That I'm bound to keep on riding, I will always be the prisoner of the open road. And you know the path I'm riding, you and I are prisoners of the open road.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So we're doing just original songs this evening. That is songs that I wrote myself. Of course, if you're very, very nice to me, I might do a non-original song, but just please don't ask for Freebird, because it's we don't do it. But this is one of my oldest songs. It's about 25 years old now. I think I wrote it about 25 years ago, when I was about 3, give or take. I've been 28 for a long time, put it like that. Actually, I was a bit older than that, but this song really is 25 years old, and it's been covered by some other artists, which is what we call it when somebody else records one of your songs. I've had about 30 of my songs covered in the last few years, so that's been nice for me. Nobody well known, but it's always a very high compliment to me when someone records one of my songs. This is one of them, and I wrote this in London, England, and perhaps for that reason, it's partly about rain. But since I've been playing it over the last few years, and since I came to America, which, by the way, I did about 14 years ago, it's assumed a kind of a new meaning to me, as songs often do as they get older and as you get older. And one of the images that I use in this song is the eagle. And that, of course, is one of the symbols of America. So it seems to me that this song really could be about America in the rain, or more particularly, after a long period of rain. And I think we can all agree we've just been through a very long period of drizzle, grey skies and gloom. And I think that we are turning the corner. I think that next year will be better than this year, as this year was better than last. So we are making progress. So this is a song about America at this moment of its story, and all our stories, shall we say. When we look out of the window after a rainstorm and we see the world glittering and shining and full of promise and saying, yes, I'm still here, just as beautiful as ever, after the rains. So this is called After the Rains.
Shakes his feathers dry after the rains are gone, and makes his home the wide blue sky after the rains are gone, and colors waiting to amaze are open to the gentle rays of that day to come after the rains are gone. Clearer lights after the rains are gone, and we will see with clearer sights after the rains are gone. And when the rain dries on our cheeks to lead us on our mountain peak, then we will hear our vision speak. Through the mist of joy and pain, the morning bird will sing again, though the night was long. And And if no trace of us remains, just say we walked in love's domain. His will be our song after the rains are gone. The eagle shakes her feathers dry after the rains are gone, and makes her home the clear blue sky after the rains are gone, after the rains are gone. Everybody, thanks so much. I have to switch to my baritone guitar now. These guitars are all made in Ireland, you might be interested to know. Loudon is the brand, Loudon, George Loudon. He sold his company about 10 years ago to a manufacturer in Korea, and then he suddenly decided that he couldn't bear living without it, and he brought it back again. So now it's based in Belfast all over again. Anyway, this is my baritone guitar. The big event that happened in my life I want to tell you about briefly. The big event in the last 18 months, second only, of course, to playing Two-Way Street Coffee House, which isn't that the big event. It certainly took us long enough to put it together, didn't it? But anyway, the other big event was that I became a father, would you believe? Yes, I became a father, thank you. For the first time, as far as I know, and probably the only time, better late than never, you might say. My wife, she's quite a bit younger than me, but we still thought it was time to do it. And so my son Gabriel was born in New York City in March of 2020. What a terrible time and place to choose to enter the world. And in fact, if it had been 1 week later, which was actually his due date, I would not have been allowed in the hospital, because by that time they were turning away everybody except the mothers from the maternity ward, because they were too scared of infection, rightly, I think. So I would have missed that great event, but luckily I was able to get in there and attend the birth, and it was wonderfully moving and impressive, as I'm sure many of you, if not all of you, know already, if you are parents or grandparents or both. So I was able to attend the birth, and as I was going in and out of the hospital, big hospital on the Upper West Side of New York City, which is where I'm based, I would go through a set of revolving doors, a big set of revolving doors, and I would go in and someone would come out very often, or we'd pass in the exit. And it struck me that this being a pandemic, or just beginning a pandemic, not everybody went into that hospital ever came out unless they were carried out feet first. So I was very well aware of that. And of course, being a songwriter, the image came into my mind for a song, which I'm going to play for Gabriel when he is of a certain age. He's too young yet, but the time will come. The image that came into my mind was that of a carousel of horses going round and round at a carnival, you know, the painted horses on a carousel. That's what we do in life. We come around and we meet and we part, we meet and we part. We slip in and out of the exit too quickly. This is called the Carnival Waltz. All the pretty horses go round and round, painted in colors so gay, prancing and dancing while the music plays. And so many people are standing in line, waiting to take a ride. Some may be happy, and some may be hurting inside. As long as the wheel keeps turning, them all go by. Some say hello, and some are waving goodbye. For every face that is passing from us, another will always come round. And all we've lost someday will surely be found. Round and round we go, round and round we go, round and round we go. All the pretty horses go up and down, painted in colors so gay, prancing and dancing while the music plays. Every good friend that we've lost on the way someday will come to the sound, and we are all riding the merry-go-round. Round and around we go, round and around we go, round and around we go.
Thank you so much. I want to tell you about my CDs, which are for sale over there in the little silver box, right under the Christmas tree. I thought it was an appropriate place to put them. They're $15 each or $20 for two. Now, not many people buy CDs anymore. Not many cars even have CD players, which is a great disadvantage to musicians. But my feelings towards CDs is, one, that they're well worth making from the musician's point of view because they provide a stimulus and a theme and an occasion to write new material, which I do regularly. And from the audience's point of view, well, you can treat them as a kind of a warehouse. If you don't want to listen to the whole thing from start to finish, you can just download a track here and there. You can pick and choose. It's up to you. But I would love it if you were to buy one of my CDs because I want to point out they do have nutritional value. If you buy one, then I will eat. So please bear that in mind. I recorded a new CD just last week. It's now available for sale online, download only, but I'm going to produce some physical copies after Christmas. You can go to my website and find that CD if that interests you. In the meantime, my most recent CD is one I recorded last June in a single afternoon, which is where I usually approach my CDs. I go in the studio and just record my live set, so I can do it very quickly. And it's very much, what you see is what you get. If you like the music tonight, you will like the CD because there's really not much difference between the two things. So the CDs are over there for sale, $15 each, $20 for two. My most recent CD is called Lamentations. We were doing a lot of lamenting last year. So this is the title song. This is called Lamentations.
Once I was lovely, once I was young, once I rejoiced in the light of the sun. Once the pure waters flowed straight to my well. Now I sing lamentations to heaven or hell. The keys of a kingdom were thrown at my feet. A table was laden with all I could eat. Now I beg them to feed me through the bars of a cell, and I sing lamentations from heaven or hell. listening from so far away to all the dim voices that whisper and pray. Show us your mercy, tell us all shall be well, while we sing lamentations from heaven or hell. Once I was golden, once I was young, and I danced in the light of the moon and the sun. Now I've grown weary of the sound of the bell, and I sing lamentations from heaven or hell. And I sing lamentations to heaven or hell. Thank you. So is anybody here from California? Well, I love California. It's one of my favorite parts of the world, certainly one of my favorite parts of America. And I usually travel there, I tour there in the fall of every year. So I was there, in fact, this year in September. Managed to get a few gigs in California. And one of my favorite threeways is number 1, if you know Highway number 1 in California. It's a very beautiful stretch of road. Goes up and down the Pacific, of course, from Santa Barbara and Malibu all the way up to the Bay Area. So this is my love song to a highway, if you like. Next time I come through, I will no doubt have a beautiful song dedicated to Highway 80. But in the meantime, although that'd be, I might be stuck for ideas, but this is called California 1. Heading out on Highway 1, heading out, say you'll come with me, just you and me. Down the coast she rolls and winds, while the California sunlight shines on the sea. I can feel the mountain breeze, hear it singing through the redwood trees. I can taste the sweet, sweet wine, see the ocean move through its own time. Waves are breaking in the sun, I'm going where the endless rivers run. Oh, how they run on California 1. While we are standing still, time just advances over those blue, blue hills. Life surely dances. So much we lose and spill, wasting our chances to be free. I can feel the mountain breeze, hear it singing through the redwood trees. And I can taste the sweet, sweet wine, see the ocean move through its own time. I'm heading out on Highway 1, heading out if you'll only come. We've just begun on California 1. On California 1. Thank you. Thanks so much. So I'd like to do an honorary
tune now. Don't tell anyone, will you? This is actually written by one of my favourite guitarists. Look at the right guitar, I think, yeah. Leo Kottke. Do we know Leo Kottke's work? You know? Well, look, next time you see him, will you please call him on the way he's been ripping off my style for about the last 20 years? A friend of mine saw him in concert the other day. She said that, well, the flair seems to have gone out of it a little bit for him. He strolled on the stage. The guitars were just lying on stage. There wasn't even a guitar stand there. Apparently, he just picked it up. And at the end of the show, he said, right, I'm going to do the encore now so we can all go home. Well, gee, thanks. Maybe the fire has gone out of it a little bit for him. So I'm here to keep the flame going for Leo Kottke. This is one of his tunes from his first CD there, his first album, which was called 6 and 12-string guitar. Most of it's 12-string, but this is a 6-string piece. It's called The Fisherman, written by Leo Kottke. Very much. So we're going to do one more song in this half of the show. I think we're going to have a little break, and I will put my mask back on. If you'd like to come and say hello, I will be here. I will hover near my CDs and look needy. Once again, thanks to the Two-Way Street Coffee House for hosting us all this evening, and I want to talk a bit more about that later on in the second half, but it's a pleasure to play for you this evening. So this is a song that was based on a true story. The story took place back in 1932, before any of us were born, probably. The heart of the Dust Bowl Depression here in America, and in the Southwest particularly, there were tornadoes, hurricanes, you name it, dust clouds 10 miles high bearing down on the clapboard house. Must have been a terrifying sight. People thought the world was ending. And that was in Kansas, Texas, Oklahoma, parts of Colorado. But the dust, as you probably know, sometimes blew as far as the capital in D.C. So that was a terrible time to be alive. It was also the height of the Great Financial Depression, which began in 1929 with the crash on Wall Street. By 1932, about a quarter of the adult male population was out of work, and the hardest hit areas, as usual, were the rural areas. And when the farms were taken away from the farmers by the banks, when the farmers couldn't pay their mortgage payments anymore because interest rates had gone through the roof, the farmers just tended to go to pieces because they could not conceive of themselves as anything but farmers. When their farm had gone, they didn't know who they were anymore. It defined who they were as men. It had been in their family for generations, and when it was taken from them, they just tended to give up, put their hands in their pocket and give up. But the women didn't give up. They stepped up to the breach and carried on doing what they had always done, which was keep order in the house and food on the table and hope, above all, in the hearts of the men they love. So here's to the women of America for saving our asses so many times through your courage and strength. This is my song based on a true story concerns a poor family who made their way across America on foot during the days of the Dust Bowl. And this is called Days of Mercy. Days of Mercy. Daddy lost his job one day when he wouldn't take a cut and pay. He couldn't find another place, even one that paid him less. So he settled into his easy chair with his dog-eared magazines until the bank took back our house. And my mama only screamed when she was a little girl. She had a dream, she found a pearl hidden in the pocket of her pants. But the pants were full of holes, and when she woke the pearl was gone. And she was only 6 years old. Hold on tight, my mama said, and keep your eyes upon the sun. Faith in the road ahead, the days of mercy will surely come. Oh, when the world is blown apart in the eye of a hurricane, let strength and courage fill your hearts. Days of mercy will come again. So we sold up all we owned. We headed east in a touring car. We found a place with a plot of land down in windy Arkansas. Daddy worked on a lady's farm, but my mama heard it said he didn't work that lady's fields as much as he worked her bed. So she packed a cardboard case with a single change of clothes. I took the baby on her hip. I told us all to follow close, and we began the long walk home to the California coast. Hold on tight, my mama said, keep your eyes upon the sun. Put your faith in the road ahead. The days of mercy will surely come. When the world is blown apart in the eye of a hurricane, let strength and courage fill your hearts. Days of mercy will come again. When I fainted in the heat of the Oklahoma sun, my mama led me to a stream and dipped a cloth to bathe my head. We walked all through New Mexico, and in a migrant workers' camp I learned all there was to know about the kindness of the poor. And though the children dressed in rags, they gave us everything they had. Bags of sweets with ready smiles, fresh tortilla around the fire, in the huts of rusty iron. When the baby started crying, hold on tight, my mama said, keep your eyes upon the sun. Put your faith on the road ahead. The days of mercy will surely come. When the world is blown apart in the eye of a hurricane, let strength and courage fill your hearts. Days of mercy will come again. So we finally reached L.A. Beside a lake in Lincoln Park, a man was standing all alone, throwing crumbs to feed the ducks. When are you gonna take those children home? Asked the man, and my mama said, we just walked 2,000 miles. We'll make it yet with a little luck. And then the man just looked away. He said he guessed his turn had come. He pulled out $2 bills, enough to see us right, for a can of pork and beans and some shelter for the night. Hold on tight, my mama said, keep your eyes upon their son. Put your faith on the road ahead. The days of mercy will surely come. When the world is blown apart in the eye of a hurricane, let strength and courage fill your hearts. Days of mercy will come again. Hold on tight, my mama said, keep your eyes upon the sun. Put your faith on the road ahead. Days of mercy will surely come. When the world is blown apart in the eye of a hurricane, let strength and courage fill your hearts. Days of mercy will come again. Hold on tight, my mama said, keep your eyes upon the sun. Put your faith in the road ahead. Days of mercy will surely come. When the world is blown apart in the eye of a hurricane, let strength and courage fill your hearts. Days of mercy will come again. Thank you.
Well, that was pretty nice.
Thank you, John.
Yeah, just a few announcements. We'll take a short break here, like 10 minutes or so,
Sure, whatever.
or 9 maybe, or 8.
I think 7.5.
Okay, 7.5
That's
it
in my
is.
contract, yeah.
You know, all of a sudden I said 7.5, and I'm like,
Yeah, all right. I don't come from around here, that's all.
well, and so tomorrow, Saturday, from 2 to 4, we've got the sing-along, which is done in the big room down the hall, from 2 to 4. This is our last concert of 2021 because next Friday is Christmas Eve. And guess what? The following Friday is New Year's Eve. So we're going to be, off for a couple of weeks celebrating with family and friends. But, and I announced this last time, the first Friday back in the coffee house is January 7th, and we are doing an open mic. And that'll start at 8 o'clock. And if you think you can sing, if you think you can play, if you want to tell a joke, recite a poem, it's an open mic. And so I do have to say, I don't know if the camera guys can see me, but I'm over here, just I think slightly off of the camera. But like to welcome those who are tuned in virtually, because if you can't make it physically, you can make a donation twowaystreet.org, and we will send you a YouTube link. You can sit in the comfort of your own home and see the show anyway. So on that happy note, let's take a short break, and Rupert will be back for a whole new second set.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I do, yes, yes.
Not the Armadillo album.
Oh, that's is not his first one?
No.
I thought it was.
If I remember right, and I think it was Leo,
Yeah.
his first album was actually on the Oblivion label.
Right. That's interesting. I didn't know that.
In a little place a little bit bigger than this, and it had to be just about 50 years ago.
Wow.
30 years ago. And I remember he came up on stage and he said, I'm going to tell you what, you're going to think there's more than one person playing. And it was really cool.
No, he's got a great sense of humour, I always thought. So are we all present and correct? Is it good? Yeah.
We're physically here.
Right. Oh, should we wait for the other? She's passed on to the restroom. Did you want to make an announcement?
I do.
Okay, sure.
As long as I'm standing here, I might as well do that.
I think so.
So we're ready to get started. I'll delay it as long as I can. Like I said, open mic, January the 7th, off the next 2 weeks. And also, if you look on the back of these sheets, you get to see who's coming in January. We've got some really great people coming. One of my favorites is Chris Valio, who his first words out of his mouth are, "Yes, this is my real hair," because he's got this almost like an afro, dark curly, and yes, that is my real hair.
He's a lucky guy.
So that with that, we've got people booked now almost till June. So we're here every Friday night, except for the next 2 Fridays. So Rupert, if you're ready to go,
I certainly am. Ready
I
to go.
will step away.
Thank you. Once again, thanks to Two-Way Street for hosting us all and keeping the ship afloat. So we were talking about Leo Kottke just now, and I'm going to do another Leo Kottke piece. This is his arrangement of Bach's Jesu, Joy of Man's Desire. Then I'm going to go straight into one of my own tunes, and my own tune is called I'll Never Tire of Looking in Your Eyes. They're both instrumentals. I'm going to do them back to back in a segue. So what I'm doing here, essentially, by playing one of my own pieces next to one of Bach's, is inviting comparison with one of the greatest composers who ever lived. So please be generous in your listening. Jesu, Joy of Man's Desire, followed by I'll Never Tire of Looking in Your Eyes. very much, everybody. You very rarely see a man file his nails, do you? But it does happen in my case, because guitarists have to keep their nails in a certain trim. So I want to tell you a little bit about the non-profit, which is run by my wife. She's the CEO and executive director of a non-profit. And the joke that we have is that she runs a non-profit and makes more money than I do. No musician, well, all musicians are non-profit. Well, I make a living, I make a living on the road, but the real rewards of being a musician are not the kind that you can put on paper. Anyway, my wife's non-profit exists to help young kids, mostly young girls, but some young boys, who have issues with their sense of self-worth, and particularly if they're suffering from bullying by their peers, which is a very serious problem in the teenage world today because of social media. It makes the whole thing much worse. She's particularly interested in helping kids who have issues with food, anorexia, bulimia, that kind of stuff. And her object is to go into high schools and talk to these kids and sort of have a little play that she's written for these kids, which they act out. The goal of which is to persuade them that they're beautiful just as they are. They don't need to change the way they look or how much they weigh or the people that they love or whatever it is that they want to be is okay. They don't have to listen to what the world tells them about who to love or what music to like or how much they should weigh, what food to eat, that kind of stuff. They need to realize their beauty. That's the goal, which is a lesson that we all could learn. So I wrote a little fairy tale for all the girls of Realize Your Beauty. And I envisaged a young girl who lived on a desert island for 3 days and 3 nights. No one ever came to visit her. There was no social media. But she decided she was going to make her desert island a beautiful place. This is called The Ballad of a Brown-Eyed Girl. She was a young girl with eyes of brown, lived 3 days all alone on an island where the wind and the rain made a pitiful sound, and the sun and the sea endlessly pound the rocks on the shore and the white sand. On the first day she wrote with a stick in the sand words of welcome to all passing sailors. But as evening fell on the very same day, the tide coming in washed her words away, while the light of the moon grew paler. On the second day she stood at her window and sang a beautiful song to the morning. But no one was there on her island to hear, and the beautiful song that she sang disappeared in the sound of the rain that kept falling. On the third day she woke and she planted the seed of a rose that would bloom in her garden. But the sun beats down and it withered the rose, for she chose a place where no river flows, in a land that never gives pardon. And though none ever read what she wrote on the sand, or heard what she sang from her window, though the rose that she planted died in her hand, for 3 days the cruel world was a lovelier land, for the brown-eyed girl had made it so. She was a young girl with eyes of brown, lived 3 days all alone on an island where the wind and the rain make a pitiful sound,
and the sun and the sea endlessly pound the rocks on the shore and the white sand.
Good. Right. So I'd like to do some of my brand new songs. They're all new to you, of course, but they're new to me too because I've only just written them. Last week I recorded a brand new CD. As I mentioned, it's available for download on my Bandcamp page, Rupert Wates bandcamp.com, or bandcamp.com, Rupert Wates, whichever it is. Anyway, you can download it, and then physical copies will be available after Christmas. I decided to go back to my roots in English, specifically English folk music. So a lot of the songs are based on old English folk tales, which I researched. Came up with some real gems. Based the songs loosely on those folk tales. And England being an island, a lot of the songs, a lot of the tales are about the sea. This is one of them. This is called To the Sea.
Tell me where my true love lies. What's that to me? What's that to me? Did she pass by on her morning ride? Follow the rhythm to the sea. Were there wildflowers in her chestnut hair? What's that to me? What's that to me? It was for my sake she then did wear. Follow the rhythm to the sea. There she'll wait on the sun-warmed sands while the waves rise and fall, where the old ruined castle stands and silence gazes from its walls. There she'll watch as the sailors make land, each with treasures galore. They will show her the pearls in their hands that they have brought from distant shores. And in time to come she'll not grow old. What's that to me? What's that to me? For a rusty coin she'll trade her soul. Follow the river to the sea. Can you tell me where my sweetheart lies? What's that to me? What's that to me? Did you hear her sing as she passed by? Follow the rhythm to the sea. Follow the rhythm to the sea. Follow the river to the sea.
Thank you very much. That was called To the Sea. So a lot of these songs are based on old folk tales, and one of the oldest of English folk tales is the stories of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table, sort of English prehistory, really. And the Round Table consisted of knights at arms, and to gain access to the Round Table, to be a member of the Round Table, you had to prove yourself, and in particular your chivalry. So all the knights are set various tests which they have to prove their chivalry and their manhood and manliness. And King Arthur himself is set a test. He encounters on the road a sorceress who commands him to find the answer to the question, what is it that women most want? And this is a question that men have asked themselves, many times through history, and I still don't know the answer. So off King Arthur goes in search of the answer to the question, what is it that women most desire? So I wrote a little song based on that old myth, and then I'm going to go straight into another new song, which is sung from the point of view of a lady who's just been jilted at the altar by her faithless husband-to-be. He's gone off to live with a Spanish lady, so she's pretty unhappy about that. So these are two songs on the theme of ladies. What is it that ladies most want, and what do ladies do and say when they don't get what they want? This is All Fair Ladies, followed by Spanish Galleon.
Tell me, ladies, much admired, ask and we will answer you. Name the thing you most desire, ask and we will answer true. Shall it be a diamond or a ring? Must I be a pauper or a king? Tell me if you can what I must bring the lady fair, for my lady's love to win. Will she care for pomp and state? Ask and he will answer you. Plump young fowl to fill her plate, ask and he will answer true. Shall it be a diamond or a pin? Must I be a pauper or a king? Tell me if you can what I must bring the lady fair, for my lady's hand to win. Will my riches turn her head? Yes, but they'll not reach her heart. Will she prize good sport in bed? Yes, but you must learn the art. Be thou lord or prince or knave, so say all fair ladies. When you're schooled in what she craves, so say all fair ladies. Let your lady have her will, then your cup of joy shall be filled. If no other gift you bring your lady fair, you your lady's heart shall win. Let your lady have her will, then your cup of joy shall be filled. If no other thing you bring your lady fair, you your lady's heart shall win. You your lady's heart shall win. Oh, take me aboard, you fine Spanish galleon. I must make my way to the port of Cadiz. My true love is there and still wears my medallion, for I am worth more than that lady of his. How much should I pay you to grant me the passage? A poor maid I am, little money have I. His lady is rich and she rides in a carriage, and she has bewitched him with dark Spanish eyes. Oh, take me aboard, you fine Spanish galleon. I must make my way to the port of Cadiz. My true love is there and still wears my medallion, for I am worth more than that lady of his. I know he will love me again when I find him, for he bears my image yet close to his heart. No more will her jewels and her finery blind him, no more will she practice her poisonous art. Oh, take me aboard, you fine Spanish galleon. I must make my way to the port of Cadiz. My true love is there and still wears my medallion, for I am worth more than that lady of his. I am worth so much more
that seniors of his. Thank you. Thanks so much. First World War is still a very traumatic memory for English people. First World War, 1914 to 1918. We lost many millions of young men, all of them sacrificed really for no good that I can discern. It was a pointless war, in my opinion. There may be more than one opinion. Second World War, different matter. It had to be fought. But the First World War was just a disaster. So it's still a very painful memory for all of us. And I came across a wonderful true story about the First World War. There's a pub in the southeast corner of England, not far from London, which I call, in the song I'm about to sing you, the Bricklayer's Arms, but it's called something else, in fact. And at this pub, if you go there now, you can look up at the ceiling, and you will see in the beams of the ceiling nail holes and 25 silver coins nailed to the ceiling. And you will ask the publican, the landlord, behind the bar, what is the meaning of those silver coins in the beam of your ceiling? And he will tell you that on the eve of the First World War, all the young men of that village got together, wearing their uniforms. They got together in the pub on the eve of their departure, just before they were about to leave for France. And they invited all their sweethearts and their loved ones, family members, wives, to come with them to the pub, and each man produced from his pocket a florin, which was a silver coin worth about 10 English pennies, which in those days was quite a lot of money. And they said, here's a florin. I want you to nail this to the ceiling of our beloved pub, and when I come back from the war, as I surely will do, we will reclaim my florin and we will buy drinks to celebrate for all the people in the house. So that's what they did. 110 years later, if you go back to that pub, look up at the ceiling, you'll see all the nail holes which represent all the young men who came home. 25 silver coins still in that ceiling today represent all the young men who never came home, and that is their war memorial, a silver coin nailed to the ceiling of the local pub. Well, I thought that was a powerful tale, so I decided to write a song based on it. I wrote this actually on Memorial Day of this year. So if there are any veterans in the room, this is for you. This is called A Florin to the Beam. A florin, remember, is a silver coin worth about 10 pennies. A florin to the beam. Drink up and dry your eyes and nail a florin to the beam of the old bricklayer's arms and leave it there for all to see. Drink up and dry your eyes, and on the day when I come home, it will buy a high old time for you and me. Promise me that you'll remember me in every letter that you send to me. This war will never make an end of me, as long as you are still a friend to me. Drink up and dry your eyes and nail a florin to the beam of the old bricklayer's arms and leave it there for all to see. Drink up and dry your eyes, and on the day when I come home, it will buy a high old time for you and me. If I never see your eyes again, that coin will be the one you never spend. No black ringed notice in the Times for me. One silver penny will do fine for me. Drink up and dry your eyes and nail a florin to the beam of the old bricklayer's arms and leave it there for all to see. Drink up and dry your eyes, and on the day when I come home, it will buy a high old time for you and me. We'll have a high old time, wait and see. Thanks so much. So before we leave the subject of the First World War, I want to do another little song which I based on stories from the First World War. And in this song, is written from the point of view of a soldier, probably an officer, in the trenches in France, and he's thinking back to an evening or a night that he spent with his lover, listening to the song of a nightingale. The nightingale is a very significant bird in English literary iconography, whatever you want to call it. We still have nightingales in England. There are about 1,000 of them left every year. In certain parts of England, they spend their winters in Africa, and then they fly. These tiny little birds fly 10,000 miles north, according to an incredible homing instinct, to the southeast corner of England, where they set up their nests. And they do so always at the beginning of spring. So if you hear a nightingale sing, you'll know that spring has begun or is on its way. And it's always the male bird that sings at night. And what he's doing essentially is demonstrating his vocal prowess so that all the passing females will be attracted to the sound he makes. And I feel that I'm very much doing the same thing. So that's what I've done all my life. Still hasn't worked. No, maybe not. The other thing to remember about the nightingale is the story told by Oscar Wilde about the nightingale who is in love with the rose. And the rose apparently is white and it wants to be red. So the nightingale agrees to pierce his breast on the thorn of the rose and bleed himself to death all night while he's singing away his song. And in the morning he's dead, but the rose is covered with his blood and is red forevermore. And that's apparently how roses became red, according to Oscar Wilde. And of course the roses in Picardy, which is where the First World War was largely fought, were also famously bright red, and they came to stand for the sacrifice of all those young men. So this is called Hills of Blue Heather, or the Nightingale's Song.
Does the nightingale sing as sweetly as ever in the hills of blue heather where you and I lay? And the music he made filled the darkness with sound until the night found the first light of day. Is the springtime as lovely still as I remember when morning had broken and I held you near as we stood together in the hills of blue heather, and the nightingale's song it rang in our ears. Now my days are laden with the colors of autumn. The ground we have fought on is brown as my clothes, and the night's only music is the prayer of the young men, waiting and wondering whose blood will flow, for the flowers of England shall wither and die here as the nightingale offers his breast to the thorn, killed by alien hands in an alien country, far from the lands where they were born. I will see you again, as lovely as ever, in the hills of blue heather one morning in May, and the church bells will ring so loud they will drown all other sounds that welcome the day. Though my eyes are grown older and fires have grown colder, I will see you once more, unchanged by the years, as we stood together in the hills of blue heather, and the nightingale's song yet rang in our ears, and the nightingale's song yet rang in our ears.
So much. If you go to certain parts of England, the southwest coast, Cornwall, Devon, and Dorset. Dorset, Devon, and Cornwall. Yes, it's a bit late for me. I'm sorry. The local people will tell you that if you look out to sea, you may be lucky enough to see a mermaid sitting on the rock. You know that a mermaid, of course, is half woman, half fish. And as a sailor, you have to be very friendly to the mermaids because they are in league with the moon and consequently with the tide. So you have to be nice to a mermaid if you come across one on your voyage. And on this particular story that I read, a mermaid is singing to the captain of a ship because she discovers that he's anchored with his anchor over the mouth of her cave where she lives under the sea, and she can't get home to feed her young babies who are crying out for her. So this mermaid is begging the captain of the ship to weigh anchor so that she can get home. This is my little song based on that old folk tale. This is called "O Captain."
oh Captain, weigh anchor, I pray, for I may not return home till your anchor be raised. If you like my silvery tail, if you like my bright fishy scales, and my hair much lighter than the breeze, let me show you how thankful I can be. Hear my loved ones calling to me from our home deep under the sea. Draw your anchor from the ocean floor, where it lies now blocking my door. Oh Captain, weigh anchor, I pray. I beg you, let me go on my way. My young ones are hungry in their lonely cave. Oh, let not their watery home be their grave. My husband below, he is one of your kind, and his voice is sweeter than wine. I tempted him as I lay on the sand, and that same day he gave me his hand. Now each evening you may hear us sing to the moon and her sister the wind. They will send you calm and friendly seas if you'll grant this favor to me. Oh Captain, weigh anchor, I pray. I beg you, let me go on my way. Have pity on this comely maid, for I may not return home till your anchor shall be weighed.
The question I often ask myself is, when I look back on my life, will I feel that I did the right thing? Was I right? Was I wrong? Was I justified? And this is a song called Justified.
Take me home and take me now from the place where I hid. Take me home, only let me know, was I justified in what I did? Free my hands and free my soul, and you will see me rise and fly. Take me home, only let me know, was I justified in your eyes? But I was so much younger then, and I was blinded by pride, and I flew too near the sun again. Was it justified when so many cried? Lay me down and lay me low. Take me now, my time has come. Take me home, only let me know if I was justified in what I'd done. Take me home and take me now from the place where I hid. Take me home, oh, and let me know, was I justified in what I did? Was I justified in what I did? Was I justified in what I did?
Thanks so much. Well, I must say it's been a pleasure to play for you this evening. I want to say thank you again to the Two-Way Street Coffee House for keeping live music live and kicking. We've got a few more songs for you this evening. This next one is based on a true story. It actually took place not too far from here, I don't think. This is one of my older songs. I based it on a true story. In the late 1940s, there was a passenger train that used to run all the way from the Pacific to Milwaukee. They used to call it the Old Milwaukee. And when I heard that name, I knew there was a song waiting to be written about the Old Milwaukee. And I found a little story about a lady who would lie awake at night. She lived somewhere in Wisconsin or Nebraska, one of the lonelier Midwestern states, and she would listen for the sound of the train as it passed, and it stirred her heart and filled her with romantic longing, and she began to envisage a secret fantasy life which involved herself and the men who worked on the train, the handsome conductor and the man who worked in the mailroom and the driver. She was obviously a lonely lady, so I decided to write her story in a song, tell her story in a song rather. So this is a kind of a train song. It's for all lonely people. This is called Miss Burgoyne and the Old Milwaukee. Just going to tune up, I'm sorry. Having told you there's nothing more boring than watching the guitar player tune. Miss Burgoyne and the Old Milwaukee. Take two. Now the time lies heavy on my hands. I often walk beside the place where the old Milwaukee Railroad used to pass. The tracks all torn up long ago. A few planks are left from the old depot, scattered among the weeds and the prairie grass. And in my mind a figure still sits on a platform in gathering dusk, in the clothes they made before the First World War, waiting around for the train to arrive in a fury of steam and whistle blows, and the conductor holding open the carriage door. The conductor holding open the carriage door. Her name was Edith behind her back. To her face she was Miss Burgoyne, and she lived with her parents in a modest bungalow, teaching piano to the neighborhood kids, 50 cents an hour to listen and smile as we stumbled through our scales and arpeggios. And whether it was her air of reserve, or her spinster's clothes, or her foreign name, or her college degree class in 1928, but whenever we ran out of games to play, we could always laugh at Miss Burgoyne and some of her stranger personality traits. Some of her stranger personality traits. It was in the summer of 35, as I recall, when the change began, and Edith first boarded the Milwaukee train. A 10-minute ride to the next stop on the line, and there she'd descend, and come rain or shine, she'd walk 5 miles home again. 3 times a week, each week for a year, she rode the train alone. But why? None of us could ever understand. But I heard it said by others who were there, the conductor was a handsome man. He was a brown-eyed and very handsome man. So the years flew by and Edith's parents died, and she sold up and moved away. To Iowa the rumor went with a married man, and others said she died alone in bitterness and poverty on a barren farm with intractable land. But in my mind a figure still sits on a platform in gathering dusk, in the clothes they made before the First World War, waiting alone for the train to arrive in a fury of steam and whistle blows, and the conductor holding open the carriage door. The conductor holding open the carriage door. So I wrote this song some years ago for some friends of mine who were going through a very difficult time. It's called Prayer. So why don't we take a moment and think about people we know and love who might be in need of a prayer tonight. There's always too many. Also, I want to ask you to come out and support live music whenever you can. Musicians need you now more than ever. If you think the music is a good thing and deserves to be kept alive, this is the way to do it. Come out to live shows. Come out to 2-Way Street Coffee House. It's been here for 50 years, and there's a reason for that. It's because it's run with respect for the musicians and also for the audience, and that's not something that can be said about every venue that I play in, believe me. So here is to the 2-Way Street Coffee House. Long may you run. And thank you to Joel and Jenny for keeping it alive. Thank you. This is called Prayer, and this goes out for everybody who doesn't have a prayer tonight. Here's to you and here's to me, here's to all we've ever seen, to all to come and all that's been. Here's to all we ever shared, to our fathers and to our heirs, to all people everywhere, when they haven't got a prayer. Here's to the young and here's to the old, to the body and to the soul, to all whose stories are still untold. Here's to the lightness and here's to the weight, to the gay and to the straight, to all who die too soon or were born too late. Here's to our enemies and here's to our friends, to the river that never ends. Here's to the sinners and here's to the born again. Here's to the black and here's to the white, to the left and to the right. Here's to the evening and here's to the morning light, coming into sight. To the rich and to the poor, here's to the sea and here's to the shore. Here's to all people everywhere, when they haven't got a prayer, 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 when they haven't got a prayer. Here's to the cop, and here's to the priest, to the west and to the east. Here's to all they bring to the feast. Here's to the lion and here's to the lamb. Here's to the beast and the heart of man. Here's to the house on rock and the house on sand. Here's to the heart and here's to the head, to the living and to the dead. Here's to the joy and to the tears we shed. Here's to the first and here's to the last, to the future and to the past. Here's to all who ever raised their glass. Anytime we asked, to the moon and to the sun, to all we lost and all we won. Here's to all people everywhere. When you haven't got a prayer, 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 when you haven't got a prayer. Everybody, I'm sing one final song for you. Please have a wonderful, happy holiday season. Be safe, stay well. Be safe on the road tonight, going home if you're driving. If you'd like to follow me, find out where I'm playing, my website, rupertwatesmusic.com, has my calendar. I've always got at least 100 gigs in my book at any time, and I'll be coming through Illinois again, probably next June. Perhaps see you then. So stay safe, stay well. See you again further down the road. And this is called Further Down the Road. When thorny darkness comes to chill my bones, and when I stumble on the rocks and stones, I see a fire ahead that guides me home, further down the road. And as I walk towards the blaze of light that calls me like a siren day and night, it's always at the very edge of sight, and further down the road, further down the road, gleams the promise of the happiness we're owed. Further down the road, love surely waits there where the fire still glows. When time is closed on all we've done and said, when all that's left of me is dust instead, think only that I've gone some way ahead, and further down the road, further down the road, gleams the promise of the happiness we're owed. Further down the road, love surely waits there where the fire still glows. When thorny darkness comes to chill your bones, and when you're lost and scared and all alone, I'll light a fire ahead
guide you home further down the road, a little further down the road.
Thank you. Very much. Thank you all. Thank you, Two-Way Street Coffee House. You all again. Happy holidays. Thanks very much. Merry Christmas.
Now, Rupert, I warned you, nobody gets out of the coffee house without an encore, even you.
Okay. All right.
So, do you have one more?
I've got one more in me. I'm going to make it instrumental because my voice is getting a bit tired.
Okay.
So I'll give you an instrumental. This is a musical depiction of a careening locomotive. I sometimes have the impression that my life is heading out of control. I don't know about you, but I sometimes feel that I'm riding a driverless train. So I decided to write a song on that subject. And this actually has a melody and a lyric, but these days I'm doing it, as an instrumental. What I'm going to try and do now is make this guitar sound like a driverless train. Driverless train. Thank you. Thanks, folks. See you all again soon. Thank you very much. Thank you.